Hi class, let's chat. We have a lot of things to chat about today. So sorry that we have so many things. So first off, thank you for your patience last week. I know you had a lot of things to turn in. Let me know if you have any additional questions about the JASP assignment. I started to go through them. I'm actually going to pause going through those and try and get you feedback on the lit review as fast as possible. Please be patient with the feedback on the lit review. There are more than one of you, and each of your papers is long, as you know, so I'm gonna start those shortly. So that's why your JASP feedback is going to be delayed. Yes, that's why your JASP feedback is going to be delayed. The lit reviews, I hope, are awesome. I have not actually opened those yet. Again, I'm going to do that in a few minutes. A couple of things. If you didn't turn in a lit review, that is a major bummer because you probably won't pass the class. So if you didn't turn in the lit review, we need to chat immediately. Make sure that you look through the rubric. Your feedback is going to come in on the rubric and probably not very much in that additional comment section. I'll try and add comments throughout the rubric. But these rubrics are pretty specific. If you have any questions, let me know. We are going to be moving on to the results section this week. So if you haven't already closed your survey, you need to do that immediately and start your data analysis. You're welcome to do your data analysis, as I said in the previous week's email, or in the previous week's conversation, and also in that results specific announcement. You are welcome to use JASP if you like. You are welcome to use Qualtrics. You are welcome to use Excel. You are welcome to use Google Sheets. If you are really fancy, you are welcome to use SPSS or SAS for your data analysis. JASP is not required. It's just the tool that we learned to use for this class. If you struggled with JASP and never ever want to open it again, that's okay. You can do everything you need to do in Excel or Google Sheets. Actually, probably 95% of what you need to do, you can do within Qualtrics. So I need you to pay attention to the rubric. As always, pay attention to the rubric for the results section. I posted an example results section, and as you can see, that is just the results. This assignment requires that you do both the results and the discussion. So the results is going to be a lot like the JASP assignment that you did. You're going to report the facts, but you're going to include demographic data. If you haven't already listened to that video included in the results specific class announcement, please go back and do it. There's really good information in there. You can listen to it on double speed. I'm sure I sound like a chipmunk, which is even more hilarious. Okay, so the result is going to mirror that JASP assignment pretty closely. You're going to have demographic information. You need to thoroughly introduce your respondents, and then you're going to move into those research questions with corresponding charts, tables, figures, and sentences explaining what you are talking about. Then you're going to have another section, not another paper, just another section that is the discussion section. So there is an entire section of the rubric. There are 3 sections of the rubric dedicated to the discussion section. I am looking for a discussion section example. I'm hoping to post that. I'm hoping to find that shortly. So in that discussion section, you need to first discuss the implications. So the implications are, what is the so what? What do your results mean? You found out that this is the result. Cool, awesome. What does that mean? What does that mean for your research study? What does that mean in the larger body of research? You need to talk about that. This section, unlike the results section, unlike the method section, will include citations. You are going to tie what you found back to the sources you found in your literature review. You must cite it, or else you are plagiarizing, which will mean you get a 0. So do not plagiarize. Tie things back using citations. Please do that. Okay, then you will discuss the strengths and weaknesses of your study. There are strengths to your study, there are weaknesses. We need to talk about them. It's not bad that there are strengths and weaknesses. One of the things in research is we understand that no research study is going to be perfect, but an important thing is just to acknowledge what is awesome and what really needs to be fixed in future studies. And then finally, you need to make recommendations for future researchers. So what where do they go from here? This is what you found. This is why it's important. These are the strengths and weaknesses of what you found. And where does this field of study go from there? Make sure that you include that discussion section. Again, I am going to look for an example for you. Once you get that results turned in, the results are due on Saturday. So if you have not already started your data analysis and writing, you need to. There is an example of just the results, again, listed in that results specific announcement. Please look at that. Then that JASP assignment you did is also a really good example of how a results section should be. The example that most people use as a template for the JASP assignment is also a really good example. Please, please use these resources available to you. And then the discussion section is a little bit different, but you have seen discussion sections before. In every single peer-reviewed paper that you read, there's going to be a discussions or implications section, just depending on what they decided to write it. Discussions, conclusions, implications. It's listed as one of those. It's the fourth section of the paper. This is where you start to see more citations. This is where we're tying it back to previous research. Your paper needs to include this. This paper is worth a lot of points, not compared to the lit review, but this paper is worth 65 points. Again, APA formatting is going to be important. APA formatting of your charts, tables, figures is very important. Remember, they need to be labeled and titled. So you're going to say figure 1, and then press enter, and then you're going to have whatever you decide to title your table. But all needs to be correctly labeled in APA format. You can go to the Purdue OWL. It will show you how to do that. You can look at that examples of results section I gave you. You can look into that example JASP paper. That does show you some of those APA formatting guidelines. You also need to put this in the template for your final report. Please remove any sections that are not applicable to this. I don't need the example language of the abstract or the introduction, any of that. Delete those and just do the results and discussion sections, but make sure that you have the running head that's correct on the title page, and then different on all subsequent pages, page numbers, all of those things, 12-point font, 1-inch margins, Times New Roman, those things. Get in the habit of doing those things. You can even actually set that as the default on Microsoft Word. 1-inch margins are the default, but you can change your default font if you find yourself like, oh no, I keep turning it in as the wrong font, which I also understand seems ridiculous, but you can change your default font, and then that will not be such a major concern. All right, results section, discussion section, due on Saturday. I will try and get you feedback as quickly as possible. You probably will not get it, the results feedback, in time for your peer review that is due on Thanksgiving Day. I sincerely apologize. I will go through them as fast as possible, but you probably won't get those in time, or get those in time. You will get the lit review feedback in time to incorporate it into your peer feedback experimental research paper. So let's chat about that. We are doing another round of peer feedback. Yay! We are doing another round of peer feedback on both your experimental reports to your final research paper and on your final poster presentation. This means we are getting so close to the end of the semester. Thank heavens. For you, thank heavens for you, this is ending. I'm teaching it again next semester. So, you need to follow basically the same guidelines that you followed for the lit review. You have to turn something in. It does not have to be perfect, but it has to be turned in on time. If your paper is not turned in on time, you will get a big fat 0 on that section. I am not tracking you down this time. I'm not offering late credit. If your paper is not turned in by 11 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day, that is a major bummer for you, and you will automatically lose 35 points. However, if you don't turn in a paper, you can still participate in the part where you review someone else's work, because you might as well get points while you can, right? Okay. So it is very annoying that you have an assignment due on Thanksgiving Day. 2 assignments actually. You have that experimental research report and also the experimental research poster. Somehow we managed to catch both Halloween and Thanksgiving with these peer-reviewed assignments. Turn your assignment in on Wednesday. Please turn your assignment in on Wednesday. Please just be eating turkey and doing what else your family does on Thanksgiving Day that is not this class. Turn it in on Wednesday. Please, 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 please turn it in on Wednesday. If you turn it in on Friday, you will get a 0. You will legit get a 0 if you turn it in on Friday. Thursday, it is due on Thursday. Before you go Black Friday shopping, before you do whatever it is that you're going to do on Friday, turn it in. Before you have your first bite of turkey and stuffing, please have turned this in. Please. Remember, you are turning something in. Well, I want it to be something awesome because you've already received feedback on your methods section. You've already received feedback on your lit review by then. Well, you've already not received feedback on your result. You have enough to put something awesome together. Something, I'm going to say 80% of the way there. Turn it in. Turn it in. Turn something in. Please. I cannot stress this enough to you. Turn something in before 11 p.m. on Thanksgiving night. Make sure that you turn in not only a paper, but a recording, and not only a PowerPoint slide, but a recording of yourself doing the presentation. Please, if you look at these rubrics, you will see 35 points is for you turning in your assignment. 15 points is for your audio recording or screencast in the case of the poster presentation, and the remaining points, of which there are a lot, is from your review of your peers' paper. So don't get hung up on this. Just turn it in and review your peers' papers, please. I will send out the groups for that. I will set up those groups soon, very soon. The syllabus says that you will have a different group for each of those. You will have a different group, you will have a different discussion board to post that, but you are going to have the same group because that is super annoying for you to have 27 groups just floating around. You're gonna have the same group for both. So the same people that you're grading, awesome. Both assignments, just 2 different discussion boards. Turn something in. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it does have to be turned in. Yes. Okay, let's talk about those peer reviews though. So I went through and provided feedback on your peer lit reviews. For the most part, people did really well. There were a couple things that were missing. Sometimes people filled out the rubric really well, but then they didn't make comments in the paper. I understand that when you send me a paper and I provide feedback on it, an official paper, often I don't have a lot of comments throughout the paper. And yes, I agree that this is a very nitpicky part of the assignment, but it is part of the assignment. So if you want full credit, you are going to make sure whatever's on your rubric matches the comments in the word review features. Make sure that you do that. Don't just make comments on the rubric, make comments within the paper too. If you're saying the person did well in this, this, and this, but section this, this, and this need work, then there better be comments on those things throughout the paper. Or if you get a paper where the person just blows your mind, they are amazing, then comment throughout the paper. This is amazing, good sentence structure, whatever. You need to make comments. It's not necessarily just to help them, but it's to help you learn how to use those features. The same on the poster presentation. Please do that. Please do that. I want to give you all the points on this so that when we get to the final paper, any points that you miss are kind of made up for with those other assignments, that you have enough padding in your grade that it's okay. Okay, let's look ahead a little bit. I don't know that I can look this far ahead at this point in the semester, but we are starting this final experimental research report. Remember, since you're doing that peer review, the person reviewing your paper has something that looks a lot like the rubric that I will use. It's not identical, but it's a lot like the rubric I will use to grade your final paper. So you probably want to look ahead a bit to that final paper rubric so that you have a good idea of what it needs to be. It needs to be 7 to 10 pages, unless you're awesome and you want to say it in less than 7 to 10 pages, in which case I would love that. But Your final paper is 7 to 10 pages long, APA formatting. You need to have a Turnitin score, a similarity score of less than 25%. I also understand that if you go and read these instructions, it says lit review instead of final experimental research report. The same is on those new peer evaluation assignments. Pretend it's right. I'm so sorry, pretend it's right. Okay, so go through this rubric. There is a section that talks about paper format with no errors. That is 40 points. We're doing a thorough understanding of the topic, the body of the paper, the writing, grammar, citations, references, page, table, and figures. This doesn't go section by section through the paper. It doesn't say the introduction section, method section, results, and discussion section. However, I will do that, and I will send you a checklist with that information that I want to be in it before you need to turn this in. Let me make a note of that. Because while this rubric is very thorough as far as AP formatting goes, I don't think your entire purpose in taking this class is to learn about AP formatting, or else this class would be called Health Science 391 APA formatting, but it's called research methods. So we are going to do the research methods part correctly. I will send you a little bit of additional information on what needs to be included in those sections. You will receive it. I'm looking at the calendar, sorry. You will receive it that first week of December. So you have plenty of time to incorporate that. So pay attention to the rubric for the final research report and also for the final poster presentation. The poster presentation one is pretty specific. Please pay attention to that. Another thing, those personal application assignments. I posted something last week, 2 weeks ago. All the days are blending together. I posted some helpful tips on those personal application assignments. If there is anything wrong with your personal application assignments from before, please go back and make corrections. If it is, I will not regrade posts that I've already graded. And I believe it is listed when I grade them, it says post graded from whatever the date is. But other posts after that, if you need to make any corrections, go ahead and do that. So if for example, I had graded your job application posting from the 1st of October and you didn't get all the points for that because you missed something, but I haven't graded any other job application posts after that, that's okay. Just make corrections to the one after that. Because if it's not listed that I have graded it, then I haven't. Or I have skipped ahead to something else, and I'm going to have to go back and look at those. I am very much hoping to get those done soon. I am. Looking at the calendar. But first, I am going to get you feedback on your lit review and results section. I'm hoping that we can get as much of those done as humanly possible before the semester ends so that your grades go back to normal. So make sure that you have 3 of each type of post. You need to have 3 job applications. I want to say 3 choose your own adventures and 3 spiritual insights. I'm definitely naming those incorrectly, but the rubric says which kinds you need. Those helpful hints in the class announcements should guide you that way as well. So go back and look at that class announcement, personal application, helpful hints, and also the results. That will really help you for the next few weeks. Be on the lookout for your groups for the new round of peer review. Make sure that you turn something in, 2 things in before Thanksgiving. Tell yourself, I cannot have turkey before I finish my homework. And then your homework will be over so fast. Okay. Sorry this was disjointed. I hope that you have a great week. Let me know if you have any questions, concerns. Hopefully that's all.